Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of a new series I'm doing called Just Between Us. These are normally going to be live, but this one is pre-recorded just because I wasn't able to make it at the exact same time that I want to do it. These are going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time every Sunday, every other Sunday. On the off Sundays, I'm going to be doing live streams at the same time on my other channel, and it's a different show. So on that channel, the show is called Fallen World, and it's going to be more about touching on political topics and issues and just debates in general. And I'm going to be trying to feature guests when I can. Sometimes it'll be just me talking. When it's just me, and this goes for this channel too, the videos are going to be generally 20 to 30 minutes. And when I have a guest, they could be anywhere from, like, I don't know, 30 minutes to 90 minutes. I don't want to go over 90 minutes. But in the context of a debate, sometimes they have to kind of be long. I mean, especially if it's a serious or heavy topic. So I just joined a Discord server for politics and debates. So I have a ton of people that I could potentially get as guests if I wanted to. Um, I just like exercising that muscle, just, hearing people with different perspectives, testing the strength of arguments for things I believe. It's very interesting to me. But Just Between Us is a show where I can kind of help maintain my sanity. When I am doing the debates, when I'm having discussions, even if it's not a debate, if it's me sort of having a lecture on something or explaining something, I have to be very careful about how I word things. I have to make sure that I have a plan of what I want to say, that it's, carefully constructed, and that I'm making good points. For this channel, for these episodes, for Just Between Us, as the name implies, it's not as deep, it's not as important. This is just sort of like an intimate conversation where we can just discuss things, and there isn't really going to be any conflict. If you disagree with anything I say, or you want to have a debate with me, you can let me know in the comments, and then we can take it over to my other channel where I'm going to be focused on that. But for this, it's more just for me to share whatever I think and feel without having to filter it or, frame it in a way that I think is easier to digest for people who might disagree with me. So this is just a way for me to get all my thoughts out without worrying about how I'm doing it, if that makes sense. I want to start by just talking about politics and religion as a concept. I want to talk about how to have a debate, and what I think a lot of people fail to realize about the concept of a debate. I'm not going to go too much in this video into my beliefs and my thoughts on things, but we're just going to generally um, share what's been on my mind and what I'm thinking. So I'm really excited to do this, and I'm excited that for the most part, these are going to be live streams. I am going to try to interact with the live feed in the comments when I can, but in general, I'm going to just be focused on what I'm saying and not too much interaction, because the live streams that I used to do where I didn't come in with a goal, a specific topic that I wanted to discuss, they were very open-ended. They could go on for a long time. Putting the 20 to 30 minute restriction on these, unless I have a guest, is going to be helpful. And I could have guests on this channel too. It's just, it's more likely that I'm going to have the guests on the debate channel. And I'll put a link to that in the description if I didn't already say that, if you want to go to my other channel. So, let's talk about politics and religion. I just watched a couple watch a video of Christopher Hitchens, who, if you don't know, Christopher Hitchens is an atheist who, he's dead, but he spent his life studying and protesting religion, basically. And I think he's made some of the most intelligent and funny arguments, because I think a lot of intelligent people also have a good sense of humor. They're very articulate. He was great with how he spoke. And I watched this couple react to him, and my thought the whole time is that I was looking at the two most boring people. I mean, they just seemed so, like, basic in every way, and they're just sitting there watching this guy say incredibly intelligent and funny things. It was called, like, Hitch Slaps or something, which is a pun on bitch slap and his name, Christopher Hitchens. Um, and by the way, this is just the way that I am. I try to consider how people might misunderstand what I'm saying or be confused. So if you feel like I'm being condescending or over explaining something, don't take it personally. I'm going to do it anyway. It doesn't mean that I think you're stupid. It just means that I don't want to make anyone feel left out. I know that there are some people who wouldn't have understood what I was saying, and I don't want to take that chance. I want people to, be with me. I want people to actually be able to follow what I'm talking about. So anyway, Hitch Slaps, it's pretty funny. It's just a compilation of him saying things that make other people look stupid. And I watched this couple watch this video while I was shaving, because I always try to like play a video while I'm doing something that's otherwise really boring and takes a little while. So I I was stunned by how little they had to say about it afterwards. They were like, "Oh, we don't talk about politics and religion. We don't, we're just YouTubers and blah blah blah." And it didn't seem like they even had any thoughts on it. I could not believe. I mean, I could, because I could kind of tell that they were just like basic boring white people, just from the whole vibe of like the way that they initiated it and everything. They didn't seem like very ballsy people. And I have seen a lot of people do this, and I can't really say that it's because they're white, anyone could do that. But I just think that if you're gonna have a YouTube channel and a platform where you're trying to, put yourself out there in any way, shape, or form, you can't not have balls. I have always been very passionate about speaking the truth. And one thing that I've also noticed lately, I feel like I've been very turned off by the idea of my truth. People always say, let me speak my truth and my truth and my truth. And it's like, what are you talking about, your truth? Truth is not subjective. It's either the truth or it isn't. So the whole concept of my truth doesn't make any sense. It's almost like an oxymoron. If it's your truth, does that mean it isn't the truth? I mean, if you have to make the distinction between your truth and the truth, doesn't that almost suggest that it isn't true? Doesn't that almost suggest that it's just what you believe and you're potentially wrong? Why is it so hard to say the truth? So yeah, I don't ever say that. I don't speak my truth. I speak the truth, because truth is not subject to debate. It just is. Like it's the truth that I'm wearing a shirt. It's the truth that it's white and blue. And maybe you could argue that the white is a little bit more of like, I don't know, like a creamy color than like completely pearl white or whatever. But, it's still like, it's not a lie to say that it's white and blue. So that's an example of something that is just obviously true, that no one would really even try to fight me on unless they were just trying to be a dickhead, which I have been in a Discord server with people debating. So my mind is, I'm aware of the kind of stupid shit people can say. People just like to rustle your feathers if they can. People just like to stir the shit pot. And that is really what I want to talk about, is just like people completely losing sight of what they're even talking about. So to wrap up the point that I was making about the couple saying that they don't do politics or religion, you cannot choose that. Indecision is a decision. Inaction is an action. Choosing to stand by and watch someone get bullied doesn't mean you aren't involved in the fight. It means your involvement in the fight is effectively assisting the bully, because you aren't doing anything to protect the victim. So if you're going to stand by and watch someone get attacked, you don't need to know the context. You don't need to know if the person getting attacked deserves it. All you know and all you need to know is that someone is being attacked. If it's just two people punching each other and it looks like they're doing equal damage, in that situation, you can't even tell who the victim is. They're both just attacking each other, and that's on them. One of them is going to have to realize fighting is not going to get anything accomplished. And until they realize that, you might as well just let them go at it. They're the only ones who are going to get hurt, and they're both choosing to engage in it actively. However, if it's clear that one person is the victim and the other is the attacker, you don't need context, you don't need backstory. It's not your business. All that is your business is that it's clear someone needs help, and you should be trying to give them that help. Now, you could make the argument, oh, but what if I'm not capable of it? What if I'm not, what if I get involved and then it just makes it worse, and then it's two people getting attacked instead of one? What if I'm not capable of stopping that person? Well, that doesn't mean you should do nothing. You still have a heart, don't you? You can still care about the victim, can't you? Can't you do anything? I don't know, call someone, help them, help comfort them after the fact. You know, if you think that their life might be in danger, just run, try and get someone. Do, excuse me, do whatever it is you think you can do. I would never suggest that you just jump into a situation and potentially make it worse. You know, just make yourself a victim too. That's obviously not going to help if you really think that's what's going to happen. But why is the alternative doing nothing? So this is what a lot of people do in debates: is they don't actually know what their point is. All they're really focused on is the specific argument that they want to have. So they get very caught up in semantics, and they get completely lost. So I often try to steer the debate back in a direction of, but what is the point? And that is how you can most effectively have a debate with anyone about anything, is to keep it focused on what are we trying to really say here? What are we trying to really accomplish? So don't just choose inaction. Don't try to pretend that you're above politics and religion, or that you're below it, or that it's something that you can avoid. Simply by saying, I don't do politics and religion, that is a political statement. That is really saying a lot about what you think of religion. It not only shows how little it seems to affect you, which is why I mentioned that they're white, but it also shows an extreme ignorance of the whole topic. It's an extremely heavy and important topic, and it is unavoidable. It's everywhere you go. It's just life. Everyone has an opinion on this, and if you're choosing indifference, that is your opinion. You're not avoiding it. Like I said, if you're standing by and watching someone get bullied, that doesn't mean you aren't involved in the fight. It just means your involvement is cowardly and pitiful, and you should be embarrassed to have that kind of a stance. I think it's shameful. And you should be ashamed of yourself if that's really how you're choosing to go about life. Grow a pair, have an opinion, and be proud to say it. You know, because to just say, "Oh, I'm neutral. I don't have any opinions. I don't." It's like, come on, wake up. This is ridiculous. We're past that point. That is an insane thing to say. At any point in history, I almost said the year, but at any point, that was never okay. It's never been okay to watch someone get attacked. And you cannot deny that when you look at the state of the world, there are people being attacked and there are people doing the attacking. There are victims and there are perpetrators. That is undeniable. You have to ask yourself which side you're on, and there is no neutral option, okay? That's not an option. The only right choice is to defend the person being attacked, and it's actually not that hard to figure out who that is. People act like it's so complicated. It's so hard to decide what constitutes right and wrong, especially if you leave God or religion out of the equation. How can you possibly decide where morality is, what makes something right or wrong? You can absolutely decide what makes something right or wrong without God. It's simply revolving around how you treat other people, how much harm versus how much healing you're putting out into the world. That is all morality really is how you treat other people. And that has nothing to do with religion. That's just common sense. It's just logic. If you live in a world with other people, which obviously you do you really want to alienate everyone else and isolate yourself with everyone thinking that you don't care about them and that you're only focused on yourself? That's not going to be good for you. Ultimately, you're not going to have anyone on your side. And even the people you do have on your side, they're either brainwashed and just doing what you say because you've tricked them, and they could wise up one day and then good luck. Or they're just like you, which means they could fuck you over at any time. They could betray you because if they think the way you do, that's how you seem to think that kind of stuff is okay. So clearly, logically, it's pretty objective that you should treat other people well, that you should try to put healing out into the world rather than harm. And it also isn't that hard to figure out who needs healing and who is causing harm. So if you really take a look at things, it's not as complicated as, oh, but the Democrats make good points and the Republicans make good points. The left versus the right, the religious versus the atheists, all of this is meaningless. It's pretty cut and dry and straightforward. You don't need to involve politics. You don't need to involve opinions. You just take a look at the state of the world and ask your heart, who needs your help? And you will never find yourself feeling justified in attacking a minority group. See, that's the thing. People often misunderstand protection for attacking. And I'll give you the example of the bully again. Let's say, hypothetically, you see someone getting bullied and you jump in. Is your focus to settle down the situation, bring as much healing into the situation as possible, including to the bully, because clearly something is very wrong with them. Now, I don't care if the bully, like I said, the context doesn't matter. I don't care if the bully goes home and gets beat up by his dad. I don't care if the person getting bullied is kind of an asshole, or, maybe normally bullies on other days. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that what's happening right now is someone is attacking someone else. So regardless of the motives, regardless of the context or the backstories and all of these people's business that really is none of yours, if you're a bystander, all you need to worry about is stopping it from happening. And it's clear that everyone involved could use some healing, because no one who attacks someone else does it because they're perfectly healthy and healed and, have everything that they need in life. They do it because something is not right. Something maybe they are dealing with sociopathic tendencies. Maybe they have some type of mental condition. Maybe they're being abused. Maybe, whatever. It could be a million different things. But all that's clear is that they need help, and they're not necessarily in a good mental space. So that doesn't mean judge them, attack them, punish them. All this idea of justice that's based on revenge and hatred and judgment, rather than empathy and understanding and compassion, which people act like, oh, that makes you soft and you're so weak if you think like that. It's like, well, why wouldn't you want that if it were you, if you were the one doing the bullying and you felt completely justified in it? Because, I mean, clearly you sometimes think that kind of shit is justifiable. Clearly you sometimes think attacking other people is okay. So let's say hypothetically you were in that situation and you were doing the attacking, and someone else came up to you and felt completely justified in attacking you because, it's okay sometimes, and you deserved it. You were asking for it. You were doing it, so you should have it done to you to see how it feels. Now we have what is an endless cycle of people attacking each other and feeling justified in doing so, rather than the person who will come in and stop that cycle and say, we need to help these people. Don't be cynical and believe that it isn't possible to help some people. You can't say that they're never going to change if you won't even give them the chance. If you just throw them away and incarcerate them in a prison, if you're in a prison in the US, oh my God, you're basically just expected to get raped, which is insane. It's not even a question. It's like, oh, you're be careful in prison. You can kill yourself in prison. Well, I mean, to be fair, that's a whole other topic. I don't want to talk about suicide. But it happens. You can murder other people in prison. There's prison fights that result in death. But, suicide is a whole other topic. I do have some thoughts on that. I do personally believe that you should never force someone to stay alive, physically restrain them from taking their life. I think that is, I mean, imagine wanting to die because you feel like you have no other way out, and then people also take that way out from you, and then you have nothing. That is a horribly psychologically damaging thing to do to someone. You should get someone to stay alive by their own choice. You should get them to want to live. You shouldn't force them to live. So, the idea that a prison shouldn't make it possible for people to commit suicide, I don't even know where I was going with that. I just mentioned it because I was trying to paint an image of prisons that makes them seem really unprofessional and dangerous. But I don't know why I mentioned suicide. That's not what I really think about that anyway. So prisons in general are thought of as rehabilitation, I think, or I don't know what they're thought of, like a correctional facility or whatever. It doesn't do anything. Prison is basically just a place to throw someone in the trash until you dust them off and bring them back out into society. And then they're going to need a lot of therapy, because I imagine it was a really hellish experience. And that is what it's based on. It's a religious setup, the way that we think of justice and incarceration. It's based on the idea of heaven and hell, which, again, a whole different topic. I don't even want to touch that yet. I might touch on it in this video, because I have about 10 minutes left. But let's see if I can wrap this up first. So, the idea that it's okay to kill someone, to just throw them away, come on. If it's not immediate self-defense, you shouldn't be killing or attacking anyone. If someone's attacking you, if someone is coming at you with a knife and it's clear that they intend to kill you, fine, you can kill them, because they are an active threat to your life. They're coming after you. You kind of have to defend yourself. But if they're locked up and, what they should be given is the best and most advanced psychological care from people who are genuinely compassionate and empathetic, who understand human beings who've been through shit, who really can relate to the pain that, the perpetrator might be going through that might have caused them to do something so bad in the first place, and who can give them hope that they can actually rejoin society if they prove in a way that, we could hypothetically invent a way to prove that someone is not a danger to society anymore, to prove that they've changed, rather than just having like a parole hearing where you're like, I guess it sounds like you're changed, and then, they might not have actually changed. We don't have a really foolproof method to determine that, and I think it's possible. We have incredible advancements in technology, in psychology, in studies of human behavior. We could absolutely make this happen if we prioritized it, if we actually put any value into it. But that's not what American tax dollars are used for. American tax dollars are used for God knows what. I mean, it clearly, the amount of taxes that Americans pay is insane, and it clearly doesn't get us what we need. So, that is a whole issue. Because I think if we actually put them to good use, we could make a better world. But the problem is that we can't even get people to agree on what constitutes a better world. People want the death penalty. People want to, death penalty is murder. You're murdering someone. They're helpless. They can't hurt you. They can't do anything. They're incarcerated. And you're strapping them down to a table and giving them a lethal injection. I mean, like, how is that not premeditated murder? They're helpless, they're defenseless, and you're choosing to kill them. Like, and you feel justified in it because you think that they're like an evil person. Well, maybe they do have some terrible thing going on. I have spiritual beliefs. I believe in like demonic activity and possession and stuff. If you disagree, like I said, let me know in the comments. This isn't a debate channel. Or a debate series, I should say, since I can post anything I want on this channel, but this series in particular, just between us, is for me to just say what I really think, so I don't want to shy away from that. It's going to take me a minute to feel totally comfortable, because I always get nervous. I'm always ready to hear people's arguments, but, I believe that is a thing. However, it doesn't mean that they're beyond help, doesn't mean that they're beyond saving, it doesn't mean they're not human anymore. It doesn't mean that they didn't once have a heart. No one was born like that. Someone like Jeffrey Dahmer, for instance, wasn't born that way. I don't know when or why it happened, but clearly something took place after he was born that resulted in him being as cold and sick and sadistic as he was. So you know what I mean? Like it's never okay to just kill somebody unless you are being actively threatened by them. They're coming after you. If someone's chasing you, yeah, do whatever you have to protect yourself. If someone is trying to punch you, go ahead and punch them, or find a way to get them on the ground. Find a way to put them in a position where they can't hurt you, and let them know that it's not acceptable to attack you. Don't just engage in an endless fist fight with them that's not going to go anywhere. Don't just keep punching them over and over again. Make it your priority to end the fight. And if you can't defend yourself, if you can't protect yourself, know that you do deserve help. And anyone who stands around watching you get hurt is a dickhead who doesn't have any justification for what they're doing. And you didn't deserve to get attacked. You didn't deserve to be beaten up. Yes, it is true that traumatic experiences can be a gateway to helping us evolve, but that is because it increases our empathy and makes us want to protect people so that they never have to go through the same thing. That is the only reason that it's a good thing, is because it gives us empathy. So how does it make sense to then use that empathy to inflict that same harm on other people? To teach them how to be empathetic? Now it's canceled itself out. Now that's not even what you're teaching them. What you've effectively said is that you're teaching them to cause harm, because that is good. So then they aren't learning anything. All they're learning is that harm is good, but what you should have learned is that harm is bad. So don't be ridiculous, don't be stupid. What is that? The same logic that Jigsaw used, right? If you've ever seen the Jigsaw movies, I haven't, but I've read about them. The guy, he believed that by giving these people these traumatic experiences, he was helping them in life. And even his victims who survived, they would say that it did help them, and that it did, change their perception of things in some way. And I think that's ridiculous, because these things, these karmic lessons, they're supposed to happen on their own. No one is supposed to be forcing these things onto you, and no one should feel justified in putting someone else through something traumatic. Traumatic things are going to happen no matter what. You don't have to take it upon yourself to do it for someone else's benefit. That's not how it works. And it also, it sends the message that people should be grateful for their trauma, or that, you should just alchemize everything. It's like, yeah, you can, but that doesn't mean that it didn't knock you on your ass. That doesn't mean that you deserved it. That doesn't mean that it was good. Um, just know that you don't deserve to be hurt. You don't deserve to be attacked. But when it does happen, you always have the power to find a healing way to look at it. You can transform anything negative into something positive if you try. Doesn't mean you deserved it, though. So, just so we're clear on that. Let's see, is there anything else I wanted to say? How to debate. I did want to mention that. So, we were talking about trans people in the Discord server. We were talking about all the different issues that could arise, like, but what do we do about men and women's bathrooms and locker rooms and changing rooms? What do we do about sports teams? What do we do about these situations? And the person who was asking these questions was asking rhetorically, for the sake of making the point that being trans causes too many issues, and therefore, let's not even deal with it, because how can we integrate these people into society if there's all these other issues that we can't account for? And they were also saying, like, because they're not going to be reasonable enough to just, accept a different place for them, like, trans people should be considered as different from cis people and whatever, and these same people also say cis is a slur and stuff. So what I was thinking was, okay, well, let's actually get to the point of this, because you're going on, and it wasn't even to me. It was an argument between this person and somebody else, and I just was reading it. But I was thinking, okay, let's actually cut to the chase. What would you suggest we do instead? If the argument that you're making is that the existence of trans people, just simply being trans, causes so many issues, then what is the solution? To find solutions to these issues? Or to just, eliminate trans people? I'm sorry, they're going to exist whether you like it or not. They already do, and they have for a long time. You may try to prevent them from physically transitioning, but you can't stop them from socially transitioning. You can't stop them from changing the way they dress, nor should you be trying to, because that is incredibly invasive of someone else's personal space and business, to tell someone how to dress, how to behave, who to sleep with, what to do with their own body in any way. And it's like, it's insane to me that this person wasn't even thinking it through that far. They were just they were addressing these issues, but without the intent of actually finding solutions to them. And there were solutions. You were saying, okay, well, then we'll do this, or we'll do that, or maybe we should do this instead, or fix the bathroom issue this way, or whatever. There are solutions to these problems, but the first thing you have to do before you can find these solutions is accept that trans people exist and they're here to stay. You can't just eradicate them. That's not an option. It never was, nor should it have been. So there's nothing wrong with trying to find solutions for these problems. They deserve a place to exist. Personally, I think it would help if we made if we differentiated trans people from cis people, instead of saying trans women are women, trans men are men, to just say trans women are trans women, trans men are trans men, and that's okay. Maybe they should have their own place. Maybe there should be like a trans team in sports, or maybe we should just categorize teams based on physical capability, regardless of gender. Just figure out which type of person is, best in which skills. Or maybe it's just sports and it shouldn't matter. Maybe it shouldn't be separated by gender anyway. Especially if it's something like running or a marathon, like there shouldn't be like a woman's trophy or a man's trophy. Just let people run and see who gets first place. It's not that big of a deal anyway. You would know if you were to get second place, and if the person in front of you was a man, then you could see yourself as the best woman. Or if the person in front of you was a trans woman, then you could still see yourself as the best cis woman, or however you want to think of it. But why does it really matter about gender in the context of people getting, like, violent sports? And really, I don't know why we have violent sports in the first place, but that's, neither here nor there. I could understand why you maybe wouldn't want to be on the same team as a man, but at the same time, it's just a game. I really don't understand why people think this is a valid reason to detest the existence of trans people. I'm going to wrap this up because I'm at 30 minutes, and I did say, and I did mean that I wanted these to only be 30 minutes. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of said a lot. This was just a jumble of thoughts. But if there's anything I want to wrap up first, let me just check back on what I said. Trans people. Yeah, and the bathroom stuff. That's the only other thing. Like, again, it's just a bathroom. Do you really believe that if a man intended to go in and attack a woman, he would only do it if he was dressed as a woman? Or that, I mean, do you really believe that a sign that says female is going to deter a rapist? He's going in there to rape someone, but oh no, the sign says female. I guess I can't go in. I guess I can't do this illegal, immoral thing that I was intending to do. Like, I will never understand that mentality. It's very weird. It's really not that big of a deal. If you want to leave bathrooms gendered, fine, but I promise you, a trans person using the bathroom is not going to inconvenience you. And if it does not invalidate the existence of trans people. It just means there was a malicious person who wanted to attack you, and it would have happened anyway. It doesn't mean that it only happened because we gave trans people too many rights. It's a ridiculous assertion. So that's all I have to say. I brought up a lot of topics that could be their own episodes, and certainly a lot of topics that I could talk about on the other channel where I'm having debates with people. But this was just me blowing off some steam and just sharing what's been on my mind. And, I'm really looking forward to continuing this series. Like I said, it's every other week at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you're interested in the other series, Fallen World, the link to the other channel is in the description, and that'll be on the off weeks on this channel. So every week I'm doing a live stream at 8 p.m. Eastern Time between the two channels. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great night, and let me know if you have any comments, anything to say at all. I appreciate every bit of interaction that I get. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this series. I need an outro. I don't know how. I've never known how to end my videos. I guess I'll just say thank you for watching and see you next week. Did the light just get brighter? I'm gonna have to play this back. That's weird. Thank you for watching.